I got salt stains on my shoes. I'm waiting and I'm wondering, people, what the hell I'm gonna do. Now everything was fine until you blew my world apart. Got me picking up the pieces of my broken heart. It's cold outside, and I'm standing on the bus. I'm jammed in like a sardine, and I'm thinking about the two of us. It's a long, long ride, and I guess I'll never know why I'm standing broken hearted and I'm scuffling on a Greyhound floor. Now everything was fine until you blew my world apart. Got me picking up the pieces of my broken heart. Hey, it's cold outside, and I'm standing on the bus. Well, I'm jammed in like a sardine, and I'm thinking about the two of us. Well, it's a long, long ride, and I guess I'll never know. Well, I'm standing broken hearted and scuffling on a Greyhound floor. Well, everything was fine until you blew my world apart. Got me picking up the pieces of my broken heart.
Welcome
I
to
hope you're
Canadian
ready for
Patriot
tonight,
Report.
folks. Good morning, Vietnam!
Sunday nights at 9. CPR, Canadian Patriot Report, the only live multicam broadcast on Facebook.
And I'm gonna try it on you. I got my mojo working high. And I'm gonna try it on you. Well, I done tried in New York City. Boy, now I'm gonna try it on you.
Do you love your country?
Forget it.
Do you hate your government?
Down,
Congratulations. You might be a patriot.
Find me a mojo, man. I'm going down to Louisiana, baby.
Keeping Canada Canadian is what we're doing.
That's what I'm gonna do. You know, I done tried in New
Are
York
you
City.
ready to stand on guard for
Now
thee?
I'm gonna try it on you. All right now. Hey.
Actually, Duke, can I get a couple minutes with you?
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on here today. Why we're here.
Why are we here today? January 2nd, myself and two friends came out here to protest our local MP's office regarding about our government supporting returning ISIS fighters and not enforcing our criminal code. Spread the word, brother! There, you just heard what it's
Yeah,
about.
no, this is-
Play it again. Play it again.
The song says, we stand on guard for thee, and that's what it's about. Flanders Field is full of Canadians who are weeping in their graves at what's being allowed to happen in this country today.
Because Canada.
Oh, and I cut it short. Why? Because I'm jumping the gun. What can I say? It's Friday night. How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening over here in the YouTube chat room. Hey, Rip, Viking, how are you? Roxy, hi. Glad to hear the sound's working. We got everything streaming good over in YouTube, which means it's coming through from the Facebook feed loud and clear. How's everybody over in Facebook? Glenn, the Dogman Dumont, how's things out in the West Coast, brother? Hi, Monica. Todd, how are you, big guy? Gonna pop in and see you at work one of these nights, Todd. I'll bring you a couple of DVDs. Tracy, how are you? Andrew, what's shaking, big dude? I want to welcome everybody into CPR, Canadian Patriot Report. Now, before we get into things, I just have to say a little something here. I want to make a big shout out to Gary Gilbert. I was out working today. For those of you who don't know, I work 2 jobs, 7 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, Monday to Friday. And I work anywhere from 16 to 24 hours a week at a second job. Plus, I put in God knows how many hours a week doing research and all kinds of other shit, just keeping up on stuff that I bring to you guys 3 hours a week. I don't just pull this out of my ass. Anyhow, I finally got a chance to watch Gary's hour-long, or 45-minute long, rather, video that he did earlier today. And he just floored me when he spoke about me and the things he said about me. For those of you who don't watch a lot of my work, or maybe you're new to what I put out there, I don't deal well with praise. I don't deal well with reward. I don't deal well with glory. That's not why I'm doing this. That's not why I do these videos. It's not why I go out and stand on a street corner in the freezing fucking cold. You think I got nothing better to do yesterday afternoon than stand out on a street corner in Welland like a frostbitten $2 whore hoping to find a 50-cent blowjob? Like, fuck, people. Give your head a shake. You think I'm out there doing this because I want to get that one more subscriber on YouTube to take me to 600? Fuck no. I'm doing this because upstairs, right up there, is a little 4-year-old girl. And when she has a 4-year-old girl, I can't look my granddaughter in the eye or my great-granddaughter and tell them, sorry, I wanted a cup of Timmy's and couldn't be bothered to do anything, so I stayed silent. And this is the world you got because of that. I can't fucking do that. And if I have to work 2 jobs to pay the $230 a month for the cable bill to be able to run 2 shows out of this office, out of this studio, if I have to work 2 jobs so I can buy the bundles of paper and the toner for my printer and the DVDs and the gas to go places, that's what I'll fucking do. Because I will not look that little kid in the eye and say, I didn't give a fuck about your future. I was busy partying.
I can't do that. So with or without you people, whether I've got one person watching this video or 1 million people watching this video, it ain't going to change what I'm going to tell you. It ain't going to change why I'm doing this. Because I've been doing this kind of shit for a long fucking time. And here's proof of it. This picture was taken in September of 1990, right before the David Peterson Liberals got voted out of office by the Bob Rae NDP. You see that metal barricade beside me? That's what the Peterson government instructed Queen's Park security to use in order to move me from way up top on the stairs behind me at my shoulder. You see those stairs? That's where I started my speech that's in my hand in the picture. Security used that steel barricade, a guy on each end, and pushed me all the way down the steps, out past, you see the yellow curb behind my feet? I'm standing on the street in front of Queen's Park. That's what our government does to people who exercise free speech. And 1990 wasn't the first year that I'd been on the steps of Queen's Park. It wasn't the last year I'd been on the steps of Queen's Park. When the Bob Rae government got elected, they brought in all kinds of greenhorn politicians, guys who had never, ever been involved in the political process before. One of them happened to be a motorcycle rider from Kitchener. His name was Mike Cooper. And as a motorcycle rider, he had taken part and participated in different bikers' rights organization events in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. And when he got elected, it was real easy for members like me of the Bikers' Rights Organization Provincial Council. Yes, I was an elected member of a provincial non-profit organization. It was easy for me to approach people like Mike Cooper and another local Niagara MPP, Ron Hansen, who also rode a motorcycle. Ron, I believe he had a Yamaha, what's their big touring bike? The Adventure, a Yamaha Venture way back then. Both of these gentlemen were very open to the issues concerning motorcyclists, and at that time, no-fault insurance was a real big problem. Okay, anybody who today has been in a car accident and is fighting for benefits, that's what we were fighting back in 1990. Was the same fucking issues that are screwing you over now. We were fighting against them before they even became law. Does that tell you how long I've been involved in pissing up the government's rope? Okay? Now, from these front steps, with the help of people like Mike Cooper and Ron Hansen, I was lucky enough to get invited to sit on a government panel that helped build the graduated licensing system. You wouldn't believe the bullshit they were looking at for graduated licensing. It was unreal. They wanted to impose, originally, they wanted to impose a 250cc limit for first-year motorcycle riders. Anyone that's ever ridden a motorcycle will tell you that a 250cc motorcycle will wind up in the ditch when a tractor trailer goes by in the opposite direction on a 2-lane rural road at 80 kilometers an hour. Because the wind blast coming off the front of that truck will knock that piss-pot little lightweight motorcycle right out from underneath the poor guy riding it. He won't know what happened. It'll blow him right across the road. Ask any e-bike rider in your city what it's like when a bus goes blasting past them at 50 kilometers an hour and they're doing 20. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I can see YouTube is freezing up over here. When that e-bike is doing 20 and a bus goes by at 50K, the wind blast off the front of that bus will practically knock the e-bike right over to the shoulder of the road. Ask them. They'll tell you. Ask any e-bike rider. The wind blast off big vehicles like that is killer. You put somebody on a little 250cc motorcycle and the same thing's going to happen to them. YouTube, I hope I got things rolling again. Give it a second for YouTube to catch up. There you go. It's live again. Sorry about that, guys. Not sure why Facebook is freezing up like that. YouTube, as you know, I do my broadcast live on Facebook. I pick up the Facebook feed, loop it around, and feed it back out to YouTube. And my problem seems to be in picking up the Facebook feed. That keeps freezing on me. So I apologize. I'm not sure why that's happening. It's not freezing on my other computer. So we seem to be doing okay that way. So enough ranting about my history. I've been playing this political game a long time. When I was on the Ontario Motorcycle License Regulatory Steering Committee, that was the name of the committee that I sat on. And we met in a meeting room in Queen's Park every other week, Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday evening. And I would go to Toronto and we'd have a sit down and have a meeting. We'd look at videos. We'd study all kinds of traffic data. Did you know that in 1924, there were only 2 licensed vehicles in the state of Ohio, and they had an accident? And to this day, people wonder why I say Ohio state drivers are the worst friggin' drivers in the world. But I digress. There was a lot I learned sitting on those 2 committees, on that committee, and then again on a subsequent one concerning motorcycle insurance that the NDP government put together. A lot of things I learned, the most important of which, and I witnessed this firsthand when the government switched from Liberal to NDP, okay? The Liberals went out, the NDP came in, and all the secretaries, the parliamentary assistants, Dan Dubois, yes, you should be able to do it through your phone as long as your phone can access FB Messenger. Then yes, you should be able to. Dan, I know you're in the chat room. I'll let you know in a few minutes, buddy, and you can just message me on FB Messenger and it will come up. By the way, folks, I am going to have Dan Dubois on the show in a few minutes. We're going to talk about the upcoming rally in Ottawa this July. If you've never been to Ottawa and you've thought about going and visiting our nation's capital, July is the month to come and do it, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit when Dan comes on. So, as I was saying, what I learned about our government, all the information we need to prove that they're illegal is in the libraries at Queen's Park. Get on good terms with your local MPP. Get a letter of permission to go into the archives. You can access all the information that proves our government was granted permission from a foreign entity that ended in 1931. It's all there in Queen's Park. And the bureaucracy keeps it hidden. Go watch Billy Joyce's video with Max Bernier, and then go watch the video the next night where I have him on my show, and he'll tell you, Max lives in a bubble created by the bureaucrats who run his world. Why didn't Max Bernier see the petition that Billy Joyce sent to him? Because the bureaucracy, the hired staff that change hands, whether it's NDP or Liberal or Conservative sitting in the office, it's the same staff. It's the same network of control. The filtration system is always there, creating that bubble around the people you elect that keeps them separate from you. Just like Gary was telling you. Until we have the power of recall, until we have the power of referendum, until there's power in we the people, we're nothing but slaves. When this country was supposedly, and I say supposedly because the British North America Act didn't create the country of Canada, it created the government of Canada. So, in 1867, when this country was supposedly created, we, the people that live here back then and now, Canadians, we were never sovereign residents. We weren't even citizens of Great Britain, England, or the Crown. We were subjects of the Crown living in a dominion. A dominion is not a country, it is a colony. Do you get it? We've never ever been sovereign people. You can't claim shares and ownership of Canada because it was never fucking yours to begin with. You have never ever been recognized as people. Even what you hold up today, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, calls you person and persons. According to Black's Law Dictionary, corporations have legal personhood, meaning the word person applies to a corporation. And the entity of a corporation defines the word person. Person no longer includes the inalienable right of life and liberty. In the U.S., they add in the pursuit of happiness, not the attainment, the pursuit of it. But the two things, life, your right to protect your life and the lives of others that you care about, okay? The right to life. And the right to liberty. Liberty is freedom, to live your life as you choose. Those two things are given to us by the Creator. I'm not going to use the word God. I'm going to use the very words that are in so many constitutional and even international documents. Hey, Dan, how are you, buddy?
Good, man. Good evening. How are you?
I take it you're not at home?
No, I'm at home.
Okay, well, hang on just a second, will you? Because I'm not quite done here.
No, I was wondering, do you have to send me that link again that I can join that way?
No. That was with Be Live. This, I don't use Be Live TV anymore. So you can just send me a Facebook Messenger call, and I'll bring you on cam with your phone, and I bring you in through OBS, so it just picks up the Facebook call.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so
I'll let you get your show started there, and then join.
all right, I'll message you on Facebook in a few minutes.
All right, man.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye.
Okay.
As I said earlier, I'm bringing Dan in. Now I've forgotten where I was. I blame Dan Dubois for that. Hi, Ron. How are you? Yes, we were talking about shares in the corporation. You see, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms doesn't define you as people. Because then, under the UN's definitions, you would have the Creator given unalienable rights, meaning they can't be taken from you. Unalienable rights of life, the right to protect yourself and your loved ones, and freedom, liberty. Even the United Nations recognizes those as being given to each and every human being by the Creator. They're not the Canadian government's to give to you, which is what the wording of our Charter of Freedoms and Rights implies, because it doesn't say that the government recognize, or it doesn't say that they grant them, it says that it recognizes them. Well, that means that it can stop recognizing them just as easily. It doesn't say that they're inalienable, non-removable. Think about that. And every time you read the Charter of Freedoms and Rights and it says person, it's referring to you, Mr. and Mrs. Canada, as being the same as Bob's Radiator Shop, McDonald's, Walmart, pick any corporation, and damn, it froze again. Pick any corporation, and that's who they're referring to, okay? They're making you, Mr. and Mrs. Canadian, no different than McDonald's or Burger King or Walmart or Bob's Convenience or Ted's Lube and Oil. You are a corporation. Corporations don't have creator-given rights. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Everywhere that you see that phrase, persons, or person, in the Charter of Freedoms and Rights, it puts you, the Canadian people, on the same level as Frank's Roofing and Eaves Trough. Frank's Roofing and Eaves Trough does not have the right to life and liberty as given by the Creator. But according to our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Bob's Roofing and Eaves Trough is no fucking different than you, the Canadian people, because you're both listed as persons, not people. That's why the U.S. Constitution starts off with 3 important words. And you can bitch at me, oh, you just want to be an American. Why don't you go live with Trump? No, I want to be a free, sovereign person. Not a citizen. Not an employee of, which is what a citizen is, what a SIN card is, which is why I did this to my SIN card. I am no longer a member of the contract. So no, I don't want to be an American citizen. No, I don't want to be a fake Canadian citizen. I want to be a sovereign Canadian. That's it. Just Canadian. Not a Canadian citizen. A sovereign Canadian. Meaning, I am a people. I have the right to life and liberty, which persons under our Charter of Freedoms and Rights, which people like to call the Constitution, persons, Bob's Roofing and Eaves Trough, doesn't have the right. The unalienable. There's a difference between inalienable and unalienable. Go educate yourself a little bit. Google it. Inalienable, unalienable. Check out the difference, because the wording in a document you may read at some point in time could be a big difference. All right, I'm done ranting. Well, no, I'm not. I could go on for hours here yet. And stupid. I'm sorry in YouTube. I'm trying to keep the Facebook page open so I can click it when it freezes on us. All right, I am going to go bring Dan Dubois into our little conversation. Dun, dun, dun. Let's look him up here. There we go. Not bad, buddy. Let me just flip this camera around here so people aren't watching me talk to my picture. All right, let me see here. Accept. There we go. Okay, now I just hang in there, folks. I'm just getting Dan Dubois set up here to bring him in on... where is my Chrome? Look at that. It picks it up right away, and there we are. Say hello to everybody, Dan.
Glad to be amongst all these patriots. I'm just getting my stand there. I wasn't ready either. Okay, nothing like these impromptu videos. So I guess we're going to be talking about our July 20th rally, eh?
Well, that's what I'd like to touch on. I know it's still... I'm looking on screen and I see this little logo on my shirt that I didn't know was there, and I thought, oh, I've got a white beard hair curled up on my shirt, and I'm trying to wipe it off and it won't go away. Fancy damn shirt with logos on it.
It's not a fashion show.
Well, I must make a fashion statement, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. So, this rally that we're doing, it's, I don't know if everybody knows, but this is Canadians for Canada rally number 2. We had one last year, July 14th and 15th, a 2-day event. It was fairly successful. We didn't get as many people as we would have liked to show up physically at the rally. But I'll tell you something, our reach on Facebook and through even mainstream media was phenomenal. I know that the Sun published an ad about our rally right across Canada. The Edmonton Sun, Calgary Sun, even this local Sudbury newspaper here gave us second page and gave us 3/4 of the page and did a big write-up on our rally. Maybe because I'm from Sudbury, but nonetheless, we got some great exposure, and we got our message across. We had awesome speakers, totally multicultural. We had Ron Banerjee, and we had people from the Chinese community, Sunshine Lingeo, Sunny's her name. We had Mr. Datta, Hindu gentleman. So it was a great turnout as far as speakers, and the weather, I think, actually worked against us, because I think we hit, like, I don't know if you remember, it was like almost 100 degrees both those days.
I remember when I went up and started speaking, the very first thing I did was quote Robin Williams in the movie Good Morning Vietnam. I said, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's hotter than a snake's ass in a wagon rut. Oh, man, it was unbelievably hot. You were mad because I wouldn't wear my long sleeve C3 shirt in the heat.
Our black long sleeve C3 shirt.
Yeah, the old fat bearded guy is out there wearing a friggin' top hat as it is, and the sweat's just pouring off my face. You look at me and say, where's your C3 shirt? And I'm thinking, dude, it's long sleeved. Are you a friggin' masochist or what?
That's why we brought up this big, huge cooler filled with ice water. Geez, I think I drank like 6 bottles there. I was just perspiring so much. But you know what? We wanted to show that it was a C3 event. We wanted people to recognize the C3 uniform, and it was also promotion for C3. You know, we're out there busting our asses. You're a C3 member. You know, it's phenomenal how many people we have across Canada now. Guys like Barry Prince and what have you have joined C3. So we're really out there pushing the good agenda and promoting vital information, especially in this day and age, about government and about policies and about security risks that our government has put us in. So, you know, it's vital that this information get out there, and I'm really proud to be part of C3 amongst these great members. If I gave you the list of members, many people don't even know how many C3 members are actually out there and super active on Facebook. But you know, fact of the matter is, you know, it's a great thing to be part of this group. We're doing great things, and it's finally we're being recognized and we're growing. And it's not so much about recognition, but it's about growing so that we can further push the information out there that's so vital that most citizens are totally unaware of what's going on. You know this, Duke,
Yeah.
because you're out there steadily pushing, you know, this vital information.
Oh, we see it. I'll tell you though, Dan, like, I'll be honest with you, and I can say this truthfully. Ron and I have been out there at least 2 weekends every month for over a year, since our very first rally at Chris Biddle's January 3rd of last year. And I can honestly tell you this, and Ron will agree with me, more and more people, whether it's people stopping to talk to us or just driving by, more and more people are aware of why we're out there. They're aware of what's going on. When they drive by, they're not giving us that deer in the headlight, who the fuck is that freak kind of look, right?
Our efforts are not futile. I am seeing some rewards. We're getting some victories. You know, I got interviewed on mainstream TV. CTV News picked us up when we were part of the Yellow Vest event here in Sudbury. Something that Sudbury had never seen. This isn't that big of a city, 100,000 people in town and another 100,000 in the surrounding smaller towns that have all been amalgamated.
Yeah, it's about the same
now.
size as St. Catharines.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you one thing that just a little tidbit of information. Believe it or not, Sudbury is the second biggest city in the entire world if you go by landmass. By the actual area that is the district of Sudbury. It's gigantic, even though it's not populated that much.
Yeah, people don't understand from outside of Sudbury. Sudbury is actually best described as a collage of little communities built where the geography allowed people to settle. The geography around Sudbury is very hilly, and the lowlands are very boggy, so they built their homes and their communities. They're little, honest. Some of them started out as only like 5 or 6 houses in an area where a farmer could have enough, or 2 or 3 farmers could have enough room to grow crops and raise horses. Well, as those needs changed, farmers' fields became neighborhoods. But that's how they started out, was just enough room for a couple of farms and a homestead. And this little community became Sudbury East, and this became Sudbury South, and
it's a mining community. So many people stayed right downtown area, but because there's excellent farmland around here and many lakes and what have you, they started building little communities all around, like minutes away. I live in a small community right outside Sudbury, and I'm only, I think it's 11 minutes right from downtown Sudbury.
Yeah,
and
but if
many
you went in a straight line, But Dan, if you
Yeah.
went in a straight line from your house to downtown, you'd have to go 3,000 feet up over a mountain and back down the other.
Yeah, it's very mountainous for sure. They're not
Yeah.
big mountains, but it's a rocky area. Back in the 60s, they actually tested the moon vehicle here on these rocks. They
Yeah.
drove the moon vehicle around here before it actually landed on the moon because of our mountainous, area.
Yeah, the open Canadian Shield that's
Right.
up there. And just east of Sudbury, unfortunately, where all the fallout from the nickel smelting killed off a lot of the vegetation, it exposed all that Canadian Shield rock, right?
When I was a kid, it was all black rock, but they actually started spraying all these rocks with vegetation, and now all our black rock is gone. It's virtually gone. It's all green belt now.
Yeah.
All those rocks, believe it or not, thanks to the university here that came out with a grass and trees and stuff that actually will grow with very little soil. They developed that grass that grows right on a rock right here at the University of Sudbury, the Laurentian University. A lot of people don't know that as well. But because of our...
I studied that stuff. Well, I didn't study it. I kind of looked into it. My parents, I grew up right on the shore of Lake Ontario, and my parents looked into that vegetation to use as erosion reduction on the bank, right? And would it adhere there? We found out that our soil doesn't have enough nitrogen content because the plants that they developed, they sort of, I don't know if it was genetic modification or whatever it was, they developed these plants or found them or whatever, bred them, so that they need this high nitrogen content, which is what burned everything out, right? That's what turned everything. And still to this day, I was up in Sudbury, less than 10 years ago, and you'll still see like a big boulder on the side of the road that's got no vegetation and it's black.
For sure. Right? There are black, they look like balding areas where there's just rock and there was absolutely no soil for vegetation to grasp. But all the little valleys and everything, that was all dead. There was, the smokestacks here, it just literally killed all the vegetation. Then they built this big smokestack, so now we're killing the vegetation in North Bay. That's what people in North Bay keep saying is, since they built that stack, with all the vegetation out here is dying. But all the vegetation grew back here. It's actually very beautiful here. And the big black rocks, like you describe, are kind of scarce now.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful. I mean, if you like the cold and you don't mind the snow, like I'm looking outside. We got 4 feet of snow here. They've been snow machining here, and the groomers have been going for weeks and weeks here. They've been ice fishing for almost 2 months. Because even though it wasn't that cold during the day, at nighttime, the temperatures really drop.
A few years ago, before I met Amanda, so like 10, 12 years ago, I guess now more, Amanda and I have been together 10 years. So 12 years ago or so, I was dating a girl from North Bay. And I used to tease her that North Bay has a great summer from July 24th to August 7th.
That's ours too. That holds true for us as well. I'll tell you, it's not always, but I've seen snow in in late October, and it doesn't leave till sometimes the end of April. We get like 6 months of winter here, often. Not every year, but I'll tell you, I can remember many where I don't put my boat in the water till one year. It was after May 24. That's before the ice is all melted so that you can actually launch your boat. It's cold up here. We're in the snow belt too. There's a lot of snow.
Yep, you guys get it up there. That's why I like it here in Niagara. Everything got warm. Most of it's all melted. Our roads are covered in water, not snow and ice. So I like it here in Niagara.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny what just a few hundred kilometers will do in the Canadian climate because I drive for a living. I do 530
Yeah.
some odd kilometers every day. And I go down Manitoulin Island. I go pretty far down south on that island, all the way down to Gore Bay daily. And that's about 150 kilometers if you were to do it as the crow flies, directly south. And only that small 150 kilometers is a big difference. It's always 3, 4, even sometimes 5 degrees warmer, just 150 kilometers south of us.
Especially if the lake is still open. If the
Yeah,
lake hasn't frozen over, the islands, Manitoulin Island, especially if you get down south to South Baymouth,
Yeah, then
it's a lot warmer, right?
Yeah, now you're 250 kilometers from where I am.
And folks,
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. Anybody watching this, if you want to spend a nice 3-day weekend, throw the family in the car, go up Highway 6 to Tobermory, take the ferry across to South Baymouth, go for a drive up Highway 6 across Manitoulin Island, stop at the big teepee trading post. I don't know, Dan, is the teepee still up there, the big teepee
No,
trading
it's
post?
not. It's not. Now, that's 10 Mile Point, I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's actually a store there and everything now, souvenir shop. And it's awesome because the escarpment there is about 200 feet high. You're standing right pretty well on a cliff.
Yeah.
And you can overlook, they call it 10 Mile Point, I believe, because you can see for 10 miles at least over Lake Huron. It's a very beautiful site. I drive by there every day. Yeah, you know, people tell me, they go, oh, you're so lucky. You go drive on Manitoulin Island every day. It's so beautiful out there. And I tell them, yeah, the first 300-400 times it was. You know, now, do you want to know how many potholes are on Highway 6 or on Highway 540? Because I can tell you. So are you going to the rally, the truck rally, Duke? Are you going to try to make your way up to Ottawa?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get enough time away from working 2 jobs. If it was on a weekend, I could probably swing it, but it's in the middle of the week, and to be honest, I'm looking at leaving here at midnight to be in Ottawa for 6 a.m. if there's no problems on the road.
Right.
This time of year, a 6 to 6.5 hour drive from here to Ottawa could become a 10-hour drive and still not get to Ottawa.
Yeah, if we get hit with some weather, snow or whatever, because we're going to join it. Actually, Randy Lemirant from North Bay, our North Bay captain, he's got a few members and friends that are going to jump in his Jeep there in North Bay. And I've got a couple guys, 2 or 3 guys are jumping in with me in my truck, and we're making our way out there. So I took the 19th and the 20th off. I took the 20th off because I'm going to need that to recoup. I'm going to be driving. It's about 6, almost 7 hours on a good day from here to Ottawa. So, you know, I'm looking at 12, 14 hours of driving, and if I spend 8 hours there, you know, I need a day just to sleep to get back on the road. You know, when you drive for a living, I'll tell you, it's important that you get your rest. Dangerous out there. A friend of mine was just involved in a big accident last, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. Killed a guy. His hands, he's told me, my hands shook for 48 hours. I can't get over this, you know, like a guy's dead. And it's not his fault. Like, I even saw the accident scene. I drive by there too every day. His truck, his big transport, on its side down a 12-foot embankment, wheels pretty well sticking up in the air, and a pickup truck totally crushed where an individual was killed in that truck. He crossed right in front of my friend's transport. My friend, nothing he could do, but he's got to live with this the rest of his life. He's a nervous wreck. He can't sleep. You know, his life's changed forever. It's dangerous out there on the roads. I really don't like doing what I do for a living, and I can't wait to get out of it. Because, you know, I'll tell you, one slight move, and you know what, while we're on that damn topic, get out of the damn left lane. You left lane drivers, I don't get it, but, you know, you're in the lane of most jeopardy, especially in winter. Why would you want to drive in the left-hand lane, which puts you closer to oncoming traffic? You know, just one move of the wheel, and that guy is coming onto you head on. So that's a rule of the road that really pisses me off when I see people staying in the left lane that won't pull over to the right lane. The left lane is a passing lane.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's a security buffer.
And if you're on a 3-lane highway, get the
lane,
hell out of the center lane, because that's the passing lane for trucks.
I don't know what happened there, but the sound went all wacky on
Oh,
me there.
sorry, I started talking over you. I was ranting and bitching about people who sit in the center lane of a 3-lane highway at exactly 100 kilometers an hour. It's like, you dumbass, keep right except to pass.
Yeah, I can't get over that. You know, it's just logic, people. You know, get yourself out of the lane with most jeopardy. That's what it is. You know, you're closer to oncoming traffic. Why would you want to stay in that lane? And I see people stay in that lane for kilometers and kilometers for no justifiable reason when they could be in the right-hand lane. You know, they just want to stay in that lane. I really don't get it. It's beyond.
Now, I just want to get off topic here for a split second, Dan. Dave Bondi in the Facebook chat room says he wants to ride his Harley on Manitoulin Island. He heard it's awesome. Dude,
I don't know if anyone else is having difficulty hearing you, Duke, but right now it sounds like a robot talking. There's echo and all. I can't even make out what you're saying.
Maybe I'm too close to the microphone because I'm sitting up.
Well, that's a little better.
Is that better there? Does
No,
that sound
still.
a little better?
I don't know if anybody else is hearing this. Maybe it's just me. If it's just me, well, you know, but there's a lot of, it sounds like robot talk there.
Okay, that could be feedback from your phone through Skype and Facebook. I don't know if you've got Facebook open.
It seems to be coming and going. At times, it's actually pretty clear. And, you know, while you're fiddling around with the technology there, I want to get back on topic maybe of the rally this summer. So this rally is going to be July 20th. We're going to try to host it between 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm hoping that'll encourage locals that live in Ottawa, maybe curious or maybe just want to come and support the rally and support us. And we're encouraging all yellow vest. If you want to wear your yellow vest, please show up with your yellow vest. If you want to, if you're part of a group, show up with your group T-shirt. C3 members will be wearing their group T-shirts. But I don't discourage yellow vest people from endorsing this rally, because this rally is basically what the yellow vest is about. It's about giving the power back to the citizens.
It's about we the people.
Yes, it's about the referendum initiated by citizens. This is important. You know, I hear everybody, and I said it myself, you know, we do have tons of issues. The pipeline and the illegal border crossers and mass immigration, and the list goes on and on. But the fact of the matter is, if we can initiate this referendum, then all those other problems can be dealt with. So we got to put the horse in front of the wagon, and we got to initiate this referendum. Once we get that, then the citizens have control of government. Then we can deal with all these other issues, and they probably would be dealt with quickly and logically, instead of you know, these corrupt politicians, these elite that we have fallen victims to, are running our government, and they're generally raping the citizens, you know, of their monies. Like, this government is trying to support itself with tax money.
Yep.
They're not out there trying to promote business and promote industry and sell all of our products that we have in Canada.
The true goal of Trudeau's spending is step number 4 in the communist plan to destroy a country and implement totalitarian communism.
I believe that
the
too.
economy.
I believe that. I honestly believe that. I mean, if you look at his actions, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's going on.
No.
He supports anybody but Canadians.
Yeah.
He'll donate money to every Tom, Dick, and Harry as long as he's not a Canadian citizen. And it's our damn money, you know?
Yeah, and they're doing it for one reason. they're the government, and I use the term government when I apply that to everybody from your school board right straight through to 24 Sussex Drive, okay?
Yeah.
Your government, all levels of it, are working to create a state or an environment whereby we, the people, take up arms and get violent or get unruly enough that they can justify military force against us.
I believe that Justin Trudeau is so desperate. I think he knows that by simple votes he would lose. I can see him provoking Canadians to the point where violence does erupt, because then he can declare civil unrest. He can declare martial law, and the elections are thrown out the window.
And he gets to bring in
He remains in power until it's dealt with.
Yep. So the only choice we as patriots, whether you're wearing a yellow vest or a C3 shirt or a Northern Guard shirt or a 3%er shirt, no matter what reason or cause brings you out to stand on the street against our government, you do it with your hands out and open. If they're going to kill us, your sons, daughters, nieces, nephews in the police and in the military are going to have to look their neighbors in the eye unarmed and kill their fellow Canadians. That's the only choice we patriots are going to give them.
And I encourage people, I'm going to get one for myself before next rally. You know those little body cameras? Mm-hmm. I think that'd be a good thing to have because it records what actually went on. I mean, I think that the left could start accusing patriots of things that aren't true. And your only defense might be visual evidence.
Those body cams, all the cell phones, whether you're broadcasting live or not, turn your cell phone on and record what's going on at rallies and at protests. Because as we move forward, we're already seeing this in France, okay?
Yeah.
People in yellow vests are going out and holding a peaceful rally. Shit disturbers, counter-protesters, Antifa, people who want to cause trouble and make the yellow vest movement look bad, put on a yellow vest, join the crowd pretending to be a yellow vest protester, and as soon as no one's looking, 3 of them grab a mailbox, pitch it through a store window, toss in a can of gas and start a fire, and the yellow vests get blamed for it. So if you're out there and you see this shit going down, you do what a real patriot would do. You grab the motherfucker by the hair and you cave his... I won't tell you what to do. You know what to do.
I say film him. I say get video evidence of his actions so that you can have him charged later.
We all know they won't be charged, okay? Dan's right. Get the video evidence, then turn the video camera off.
Yeah.
And what happens when it's turned off? Well, hey, he tripped and fell. It's winter in Canada. It was icy. He slipped and fell. And in case you're wondering, folks, if you apply just the right trajectory and speed, a human skull against one of those metal light posts, you know, the hollow light posts on the sidewalk, a human skull against one of those metal light posts sounds just like the Roadrunner holding a frying pan out for the coyote to run into. Clune!
Well, we don't endorse violence of any shape unless you're attacked. You know, I mean, if you're attacked, anybody's allowed to defend themselves. And even that has become questionable. I mean, we live in a country where a guy can come into your house and you can't shoot him, you know. He can come into your house, violate your privacy, steal your hard-earned goods. And if you shoot that guy, even if he's not killed and he's just injured, you are the one going to jail. Mm-hmm. That's the country we live in.
Yeah, But the criminal code still says you have the right to use, quote, whatever force you deem necessary to defend your person and property. Now,
Whatever.
the key is let the other guy swing first.
Didn't that guy get prosecuted in Alberta for doing just that? He shot a guy that had attacked him and everything?
No, you're referring to the farmer that was charged with attempted murder or murder because he killed one native kid out of 3 who broke into his property and were trying to steal his truck. He was charged and found not guilty.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I agree. He never should have been charged in the first place. But the fact is, being found not guilty reaffirms or reasserts the precedent and the premise that we are entitled to defend our person and property.
Mm-hmm.
That's life and liberty. Those are God creator-given rights. No court or man-made law can deprive you, alienate you of those things. Life means the right to defend yourself and or your possessions and property, or your loved ones. You have the right to kill someone who is threatening to kill your child or your wife under the pursuit of life and liberty.
Yeah, I as far as I know, is if your life is threatened, any defense that you might take is justifiable because you know your life was threatened. It's like a cop once told me I was speeding and he pulls me over and he told me, he says, there's only one reason that a person is allowed to speed in Canada, and he says, and that's if you're in fear for your life.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, you know what? My girlfriend that I met got with a police officer, and I thought he was trying to bring her back. So I was in fear for my life, and I was trying to get away.
How well did that go over?
He kind of laughed, and he said, I heard that one. That's actually an old joke. And, I got off with a warning. I'll tell you, the courier thing is very helpful because my license is vital to my livelihood. So, I wasn't endangering anybody. I was just going a little bit too fast. And the fact of the matter is, being a courier, he was surprised that I had such a clean record. He said, we're not going to dirty your record. You've got a clean license. And he says, most couriers that I stop don't. So he says, we're not going to soil your license, and I'm not going to give you a ticket, and I'll let you off with a warning. He was actually a really nice guy. I see him on the island all the time, and we wave at each other now as I speed by him, and he doesn't say anything.
I have a question for you regarding the rally. Have you spoken to any people regarding being speakers? In particular,
yes,
I'm thinking Tom Quiggin, who spoke to us in Ottawa.
I would love, you know what, Tom Quiggin would be our star speaker if we could get that guy. And I know you've spoke to him, and I was going to ask you if you can reach out to him for us on behalf of us and get him to speak because, I'll tell you, that guy knows what he's talking about. He's been in the police force and what have you. He's very credible. I'll tell you, when I share his videos, it's a win for us because his credibility is, unmatched, and people know that he's not a stupid man either. And I'll tell you, he can't even be labeled a conspiracy theorist because he's been with these people. He's
Everything
worked
he
with
says
these
is
people.
factual. You can go and prove
That's
it.
right. That's right. I'll tell you, Gary Gilbert, I was just watching his show. He was just live there, and he was complimenting you as well.
Yes,
I don't know if
I saw
you
that.
felt your feather in your hat go straight, but he was saying, and it's true. There are some fake patriots that have joined the movement, especially since the yellow vest thing has come to light.
Oh, wait, no, wait. It's not the yellow vest anymore. It's the yellow jacket. We're all going to put on bumblebee suits and be like John Belushi. I'm your king bee, baby, buzzing round your hive.
Yeah, well, it's not so much about what you wear, it's about unity, and it's about getting Canadians aware
I
that we
know.
are in trouble, that Canada's in jeopardy, and it's about getting Canadians united to stand up against this government and bring positive change, or we are in trouble. You're either going to have to get up or put up and shut up,
You either stand
if
up
you're
or
not going
bend
to be
over.
active, that's
You,
right. That's right.
that's the two choices you have. You stand
Yeah,
up or you bend over. And if you bend over,
yeah,
they're not giving you even a spit worth of lube. It's coming in
yeah.
dry.
That's right. Stand up or be mounted. That's
Yeah,
exactly
one or
the
the
way I
other.
see it. Yeah,
One of the, it's
and
that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple.
yeah.
It keeps
Well,
freezing on my YouTube. I am so sorry that this stupid feed keeps freezing up on my YouTube channel. Oh
you know,
man, I hate this.
if there are conspiracies out there, I'll tell you, it's that our government and the elite have conspired against us. And it didn't start yesterday. This has been implemented years ago. But I'll tell you, things
Decades
are really
ago.
on the move now. They've gained speed. The agenda is very clear, and their narrative is clear. And I'll tell you, they're not even hiding it anymore. Guys like Trudeau blatantly breaking laws and acting like a total dictator because he knows he's above repercussion. And that's our fault. That's citizens' fault because we are sitting back complacently and not doing anything.
They
So that's
shut
why
down
this
gas
rally,
stations on purpose, and nobody said a fucking thing in two
yeah,
huge cities. If they'd have
yeah,
shut down the Tim Hortons in them fucking cities, people would
yeah,
be screaming.
they'd be livid. Yeah, for sure.
I
So
can't
that's
get
why
my
it's so,
double. I don't care. I'll walk to Timmy's. I don't need gas in my car. I'll walk to Timmy's. You can shut the gas station. Just don't close Tim Hortons.
yeah,
Stupid
I hear
fucking.
you. And on the topic of speakers, before I forget, I'm old and we'll go off topic and I'll never come back. You know what? We made a big mistake last year. We announced a bunch of speakers and some backed out at the very last minute. So I'm not good. I've had people already ask me, so who's going to speak? You know what? I don't know who's going to speak at this point because if they start backing out at the last minute, it is what
Yeah.
it is. So we are going to announce who we figure is going to speak
Who
on
we
that
hope.
day.
Who has said
That's
they'll
it.
be there.
But it'll be announced very late in this program. It's going to be announced probably a week before the rally when I'm pretty confident that the people that I'm going to actually put their names out there are going to show. I mean, some had legitimate excuses, some didn't. It is what it is. And they know who they are. But, I'm hoping this year that we get like Tom Quiggin would be awesome.
Well, I will reach out to Tom Quiggin on behalf of C3, and I was
Awesome.
also going to ask you if you'd mind if I reach out to Doug Force from the Myth Is Canada.
There's another, these are people that people want to listen to, Duke. Like even
Okay.
Barry Prince. Barry Prince, we can say Barry Prince is coming.
Yes,
Barry
Barry is
Prince-
coming. Barry's already
Yeah,
booked his flight. He's got
that's right.
vacations set up with his family here in Southern
Yeah.
Ontario. He's coming to my place, and the two of us are traveling to Ottawa together for the rally.
Another guy that would be awesome to get would be Barry Joyce.
Or Billy Joyce.
Or Billy Joyce. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I've spoken to him kind of offhand sort of thing. Think about it. It's a long ways off for him. He's got a young family. His kids are out of school at that time of year.
And I know he's on with the Bernier team as well. Yeah.
Well, he's on with that. I don't think that would have so much of an effect on his ability to be there. I think more his obligation to the public radio station that he's a big part of. It's a very small operation, and he is morally obligated to make sure that that thing keeps going. It's how people in his community stay. Up north, where
Yeah.
local radio stations for some of the more remote communities, those little local radio stations are the only way they hear any news or any other word from the
Yeah.
outside world, right?
Yeah.
And out in
I
the East
will-
Coast where Billy is, that's the same situation. So to him,
Yeah, I know he's far and he's remote. Yeah, I know. I'll tell you though, he's an awesome speaker. He knows his stuff, and he's flamboyant. He's got what people like to watch and like to hear. I'm also putting out an invitation to Andrew Scheer.
good.
Good. You wanna come and talk to the people? Come to our rally, Andrew Scheer. And I'm putting out an invitation to Maxime Bernier.
Good.
I'd
I
love
was
to
going to
see these
suggest that you do that, and that perhaps you reach out. I think we can find out who it was that organized the December 8th rally in Ottawa that got Tom Quiggin out. The same person had contact to Max Bernier. I will reach out through a couple of different people I know to see if we can find a way into Max Bernier's camp, Barry Prince being one of them. So I'll work
We've
on
got
that.
time.
I'm going to work on Tom
These are
Quiggin
people-
and Doug Force.
These are people, yeah, and you know what? I'm probably going to get one of the members. I'll delegate that to write a letter to Diana Bessette is in touch. She's a founding member of the PPC. Maybe she can write a letter to Maxime Bernier, and we'll get somebody to write a letter to Andrew Scheer. And Mr. Trudeau, you're not invited. Okay, we don't want you there. You got nothing I want to hear.
You are persona non grata.
That's right.
That's my Latin for the day. That's as educated as I'm going to get for you today, motherfuckers. Persona non grata. There, I can speak fucking Latin.
We do not want Justin there whatsoever. I'll tell you, Justin, he can't defend himself at this point. He's done too much. I'll tell you, that guy, if he did a 180, I don't think he's going to gain any favors from anybody. I've never seen a politician so hated. Everybody I talk to doesn't like him. And I can't believe that there's people out there saying, the Liberals are still holding 50%. I say bull on that. I think that the provinces spoke clearly. Ontario spoke very clearly. We're done with the Liberals. I think Quebec spoke very clearly. They're done with the Liberals. And BC, I'm not crazy that BC went for the NDP, but that's not the Liberals either, So I think they've lost all their support, and justifiably so, because the Liberal government has done nothing but harm this country. They've set us back probably 3 or 4 decades. Our grandchildren are now saddled with the debt.
I hate to interrupt you here, Dan, but it's not so much the Liberals as it is the socialist mentality of the average Canadian citizen who wants everything given to them.
Yeah. You're right in correcting me in a way, because, Harper did his share. Harper sold himself before Trudeau, and he was progressive. A conservative.
He was conservative. They're all the same. Canada has been a socialist country for probably the last 75 years. Our government-run healthcare system is a perfect example of the dictatorial socialism that exists in our country. In the 1970s, Justin's father implemented national health care and told the provinces, either you do it on a provincial level or the feds are going to walk in and do it for you. And that's exactly what happened in Manitoba.
And that's a corrupt entity of its own. You know that a Band-Aid, they say a Band-Aid, by the time it's put on, a patient at the hospital costs $20.
Yeah.
One Band-Aid. Because of gouging. And the gouging starts right from the bottom and goes right to the top. The whole system has been compromised and is corrupt. Our medical system, OHIP, and all these provincial plans, it's all been compromised. And people don't know that. There's no reason for a Band-Aid to cost $20. There's just no reason for that.
No, none whatsoever. But
That's
keep
gouging.
in mind, everybody that touches that Band-Aid, from the guy in the factory making it to the truck driver delivering it to the hospital, to the guy on the loading dock that unloaded it from the truck and put it on a dolly to send it up to the 4th floor, to the orderly who carried it in and put it in the stock room where the nurse picked it up. They all got wage increases, mandatory by the government.
But the bill is sent from the hospital's given a budget, and that hospital wants to spend that budget.
Yeah.
So
otherwise
if
they
they
won't get as
fall
much
short of
budget
that
next year.
budget, yeah, that's right. So if they fall short of that budget, now Band-Aids are $25.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to use the budget so that next year, and what they do is next year they don't want the same budget, they want more.
More.
They wasted a lot of the monies that they got in the initial budget. They wasted a lot of that. We see it in schools here. I've got a guy that I know very well. He works in the schools, and he showed me they're throwing out perfectly good chairs.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with these chairs. They're throwing them out. Why? Because they have budget money left, and they had to spend that money, so they bought a whole bunch of new chairs.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they don't spend it this year, well, then you didn't need it, so we're not going to give it to you next year.
The system is broken, right
from the ground up.
bottom to the top. That's right. So that's why this referendum, if it was run by citizens, guys like me would say there's no friggin' reason that a Band-Aid costs $25. You know?
I agree.
And you could put the kibosh on a lot of things, and we could put this country back on track. There's gouging everywhere. There's corruptness everywhere. And
But
it's time for the good people to point at the bad people.
It's legally in place because of the legislation that we, the people, have allowed our corrupt government to put in.
That's right. So it's got to be stopped, because the bubble's going to burst, and we are the ones that are going to be harmed by it. The elite won't believe me. They've taken precautions that if things go to hell, they're okay. They've got food, money, everything that they're going to be just fine. It's us that's going to suffer.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, people don't see the gravity of things, and people don't see, they say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. But let's say that terrorism tomorrow morning wakes up and says, okay, today we go. All they have to do is shut down the hydro in winter. You know how many of us are going to freeze?
Yep.
Minus 40 degrees.
That's exactly what these gas stations between Toronto and Barrie through the Bradford area, running out of gas. And people have commented on posts that I've put on Facebook about, well, the weather was bad. You don't understand. This wasn't just all the Shell stations whose trucks didn't get through. This was every Petrocan, every Shell, every Esso, every Texaco, every Billy Joe Jim Bob's private little don't buy it because it's full of water gas station. Every single gas station supposedly ran out of gas at midnight and their tanks were empty. Then 24 hours later, the same thing happens in Windsor. This wasn't...
Somebody's on the switch.
Thank you.
Somebody is definitely in control of these things and is on the switch. And they're just playing games. And what I can't believe
they're giving you a taste of what they're gonna do, because they're gonna say, "Oh, guess what? Let's have a power outage and blame it on a bad transformer and knock out half of Toronto for 72 hours with no hydro."
You know what? Toronto goes with no hydro. You guys have no water. You have no fuel. You have no gas.
How many apartment buildings in Toronto? Maybe 150 apartments in a building, and each unit in that building is heated with electric baseboard heaters. How are you going to stay warm? You don't have a gas oven, you have an electric oven, so you can't turn the oven on and prop the door open and keep your apartment warm. You can't turn the baseboard heaters on because they're electric. What are you going to do? How are you going to stay warm on the 14th floor?
It's scary. It's really scary. You know, I'll tell you, you gotta have a plan. Here we have a wood stove in the garage, and we heat the garage with the wood stove. So I mean, if hydro goes out, well, we'll heat with the wood stove. And as far as water, if it's in winter, well, we got snow.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, you better think along those lines. Like I've got a lot of cans in the cupboard, and I got a good can opener.
Yeah, people keep
stocked
telling
up
me,
on-
"Oh, well, my freezer's full." What's going to happen to all that food when they shut the hydro off in July?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I froze bags and bags of milk. Throw the bags of frozen milk out. Go buy a big bag of powdered milk. You don't need a
and keep that in the
refrigerator
cupboard.
to keep it safe. And you'll have
Yeah.
milk to feed your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Precautions have to be taken, and it's not just conspiracy theories. We're seeing these things happen. We're seeing in Europe, you know, it's terrible what's going on there. France, it's basically full out civil war. They don't show much of it. I was just talking to my dad, who watches the news, the fake news all the time, and he told me, he says, you know, they touch on it, but he goes, then they go to a lame local thing, you know, a cow just had a calf. They'll spend half an hour on that and spend 2 minutes on what's going on in France, you know.
Yeah. And even what they do spend 2 minutes on, they just lightly touch on things, and they only tell it to you in a way that they want you to see it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Hussein came to Sudbury here, our immigration minister, and he spoke, and he said that these right groups, and he was speaking of us, because on the news after they showed us doing the yellow vest thing, and he was saying how we're dangerous and that we got to be careful what these people say, and that they're compromising the immigration agenda, that we need these immigrants because of all these jobs that are unfulfilled because we don't have the population. Now, the very next news episode after him was the big layoff in Timmins. A mine closed, you know. Then you go to the national news, and they're still talking about Oshawa, how many people lost their jobs there. Then you do the math that 900,000 immigrants have been brought into this country in the last 3 and some odd years, but that we've only created 140,000 jobs.
Yeah.
You know? So they're not going to tell you that there's 900,000 new immigrants. They're just going to harp on, hey, we created 140,000 jobs. Well, you're short of fulfilling all the immigrants you brought in jobs. And there's Canadians that don't have jobs already. You know?
Yeah, but you forget, budgets will balance themselves. Immigration numbers will balance themselves. It's all good.
Yeah. And unemployment is low. It's like at 7% and as low as 3% in areas.
Well, yeah, that's
so
because we Canadians have to work 2 and 3 fucking jobs to pay enough taxes to support all the illegal immigrants who are collecting welfare.
This is it. 51 or 52% of the population actually works. The other half, and some's justified, they're veterans, they're elderly, they're people on pensions that can't work. You know, there's probably a good 25% of the population that doesn't work, and it's justified. But there's that other 25% of the population that doesn't work, and it's unjustified. And some of them are Canadians. Let's not be bigots here.
I'll be the first one to stand up and tell you. I'll be the first one to stand up and tell you, you come for a walk with me, I'll go live on cam, and I'll walk you through two different housing complexes, one here in St. Catharines and another in Niagara Falls, and I'll introduce you to people who are third generation on welfare, never ever had a job. The kids have never had a job. The mother has never had a job, and the mother's parent had never had a job.
So there is
generations on welfare. They know how to work the system, and they work it so they don't have to work.
Well, there's another thing that I'm telling you citizens would correct. People, now that you would have a vested interest in running this government, because it would be run by citizens, we would get these people to work. It would be you either work or we remove your welfare check. You don't get anything. So faced with trials and tribulations like that, you would see some of these people work.
Yep.
And some of these people, like I've got a friend that's, he's on welfare and he has been for a long time, and he seems normal to me and you. If you talk to the guy, you'd say, geez, nothing wrong with that guy. But fact of the matter is, if you knew him as well as I do, he could not hold a full-time job. He just does not have the full mental capacity to be able to get delegated a job and accomplish that job properly by the end of the day. He just does not have that capacity, even though you talk to this guy and he seems as normal as me and you. But once you get to know him, you can see the deficiencies. Now, that guy deserves, and he's not even on a pension. He should be diagnosed and put on a pension, but they put him on welfare, because it's less. The welfare check is less than the disability checks. But fact of the matter is, The other
reason, welfare is cheaper to administrate. On disability, he has to go in and see doctors, and doctors charge the system a phenomenal amount of money.
Right.
So instead of using disability for the cases that it should be used for, because welfare is a cheaper system to administrate, they just move people over to the welfare system, and they burden our welfare system with people who really should be on physical disability.
Or working
part-time somewhere, doing something. There's got to be something somewhere they can work at in a way that they're not penalized from their benefits as well. Because that's the other problem with our welfare system. If you try and get off the welfare system by getting maybe a part-time job in the hopes that turns into a full-time job, well, your welfare, your benefits get penalized for trying to get yourself off the system.
Yeah, that's another deficiency.
It's a depend on it or don't use it at all.
Right, yeah.
Right? Like that's how this, you know that, Dan. That's how our welfare systems work.
Yep, it's exactly how it works. It is. So a part-time job, they're discouraged to take a part-time job because they could stay at home for the same money.
Yeah.
They're virtually not getting ahead whatsoever by working.
Our unemployment system is the same way. If you're on unemployment and it's like, hey, I got a chance to get into this factory or into this one job for this company, and it's a really good place to work, but they've only got part-time right now. But if I claim it, they're going to cut off my pogey and I'll starve on part-time. But if I go to work for them and I get caught collecting pogey at the same time so that I can pay my mortgage and have gas money to get back and forth to this part-time job, they're going to take everything I own because I'm ripping off the system. What do? I forget about the part-time job and keep collecting my pogey until they flip me over to welfare.
Yeah, the catch-22 scenario. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah.
But they've designed the system to be that way.
Yeah, I know. It could have been, that could be corrected. That could be, there's easy ways to actually fix that. But for some strange reason, it's like the government likes it broken like that.
Because it makes people dependent on
seasonal jobs. They've even created and labeled seasonal jobs. They're telling you that you only work during certain seasons.
Yeah.
So and they've created these jobs, and these jobs are totally endorsed by EI, that the guy works his minimal amount of weeks and goes on EI, and he's been doing that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And that's okay too,
Yeah.
Well, if there's so many jobs, the guy could work year-round. I work year-round. I've never had a job where I just worked seasonal. I've been working year-round for 35, almost 40 years.
Hell, I drove horse and carriage in Niagara-on-the-Lake year-round. I sat out on a horse and carriage in February in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Like, there's no heater in them damn things, okay? It's not like
No,
you can
no.
roll up the window on a horse and carriage and keep the wind and the snow from blowing down the back of your neck.
Now I get the top hat.
That's where the top hat actually came from, bud. Honest.
Yeah, I get it now. I get it now.
Honest, that's where it came from.
That's hilarious.
I have had all kinds of jobs in my life. I've been general manager of operations for an investment company with almost $500 million under administration, and I was the guy who could hit click on the computer and move it all. And I've worked jobs where I scoop horse shit out of a diaper because I'm doing horse and carriage tours, and the horse wears a diaper and you can't just let it go on the street, but somebody's got to clean it. So right.
Yeah, I've kind of had the same kind of life too. I've worked many jobs for the last almost 25 years. I've worked for myself. Either I owned a company or owned a business. I've had 3 different businesses in this community, and now I'm still self-employed. I have a contract with a big company, mind you, but I'm still what they call a broker courier. I'm still self-employed.
Yeah.
But I worked in factories. I picked tobacco in Delhi, buddy.
Oh yeah.
And in Burford. Yep. I worked for Toda Farms, they were called. And in Burford, that's the one I recall. I was there for a year. I was there for the entire process of tobacco, from the planting to my battery power is almost dead. From planting to collecting the leaves. I did it. Yeah, it's saying my phone's going to die. I didn't notice, but my battery, I've been on the phone all darn day with members and what have you. I'm going to have to cut this short, my friend.
That's all right, buddy. It's 10:30 on a Sunday night. We're going to pack it in a little bit early tonight anyhow.
Awesome. Well, I just want to remind people before my battery dies, be at the July 20th, 2019 Canadians for Canada Rally Part 2. We're probably going to get Duke here to host it this year. I'm going to probably open it and maybe close it, and I'd like to spend more time amongst the Patriots. And Duke does a fine job up there, so I'm thinking maybe we'll get you to host it this year, Duke, if you want to do that.
I'll take on that duty.
Yeah, I think you're the guy to do that. You're a familiar face now, and that way it'll give me, because last year, that's what I heard, a lot of people, oh, geez, I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to get to know you.
You were busy on stage both days. You were busy running the show, and...
So I want to spend some time with my friends, with my Patriot friends, the friends that I've met on Facebook and through the movement. So I'm going to leave myself open to more free time on that event. But again, tell your friends, tell everybody, share this video, share the event page. Canadians for Canada Rally 2, July 20th, Parliament Hill, from 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. We're hoping.
There you go, folks. That's when it's happening. Now, I have Dan, just so you know, I spoke to Ryan McLean on Facebook Messenger earlier today. When he's got promo material that C3 has approved and it's all official and the dates and locations and all the information is there, he's going to forward it to me, and I'm going to start including it in my videos so that people can know about it. Now, just so that you as the leader of C3 understand this, I am going to tell people, if you can't get to Ottawa, then on this day, get to your provincial legislature.
Yeah.
If you can't get to Ottawa, get to wherever the hell you can get to.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Because this is about Canadians having a voice, and damn it, we cover this country from one coast to the other. Raise your fucking voice wherever you are. If you can't get to Ottawa, raise your voice wherever you are on July 20th.
Great idea. Great idea. And again, we welcome the Yellow Vest people to join this rally. It's about the same thing, people. It's about getting rid of this government and giving the power back to the citizens. So whether it be Yellow Vest or Canadians for Canada Rally 2, whatever you want to name it, label it, we're headed in the same direction. It's about replacing this corrupt government and these globalists and these elites, and implementing a government by the people for the people.
Which we have never, ever had in Canada. Never.
I gotta let you go. I can see my phone is gonna die, and then I'm just gonna go black. So before that happens,
Dan, thanks for coming on, brother.
It's awesome. Have a great day, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
You can keep everybody up to date on what's happening.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Take care.
There you go, folks. Dan Dubois from C3, Canadian Combat Coalition. And as many of you know, I am a C3 member. I am the captain of the Niagara chapter. I am also a member of the Northern Guard. I belong to both organizations. Why? Because the organizations do two different things. They have two different mandates, if you will. C3, Dan Dubois and the Canadian Combat Coalition, they're very active politically, organizing rallies, gathering people together for local Yellow Vest rallies, opening chapters all across the country. We now have, C3 now has chapters all the way out to BC. But C3 is focused on getting the word out, okay? We're focused on organizing rallies, on bringing people to these awareness events. Northern Guard, on the other hand, has a different mandate. Their mandate, their objective, their goal is to make sure that people like C3 have the ability, the place to do what they need to do. Think of Northern Guard more as the frontline troops, giving the speakers of C3 a place to stand and have their say. And that's why I belong to both of the groups. Because at some point in time, I can do either one of those jobs. And to a degree, both of those jobs overlap each other. Okay? That's why I belong to both groups. I don't put one more important than the other. Because it's just like this patriotism movement. It's just like Billy Joyce, Amazing Polly, Frank Vaughan, Glenn Dumont, Barry Prince, Mike Traherne. The list goes on and on and on. It's not about any one thing, any one person. This is about patriotism. It's about that big red maple leaf right back there. And that represents all of us. Not just one voice. It represents all of us. It's why I don't just preach my stuff and what I have to say. It's why I shut up and bring you videos from Billy Joyce. Why I bring Billy on. Why I bring Barry on. Why I shut up and play you videos from Amazing Polly. Because it's not about me. It's not about just what Polly has to say. It's not about just one of us. It's about all of us. And together, we, the people, can do what needs to be done. And you can nitpick it down into details, but what needs to be done is to take the lies about this country that we were fed and turn them into the truth that our children and our grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren can live in reality versus the lie that we grew up in. We were told that this was a country of free people. And we're finding out that that's a lie. That everything we were told about this country is a lie. And I am doing the things I'm doing because I want to turn those lies around and make them into a reality that my little 4-year-old granddaughter and her granddaughter can live and enjoy and grow in. Canada. That's why I'm doing this. It sure ain't to get rich. It sure ain't to be popular. Because I don't give a shit if you like me. I'm not doing this to win brownie points or popularity contests. I'm doing this because I can't look that little kid in the eye and tell her I didn't do a fucking thing. Can you look your kid or your grandkid in the eye and tell them, I didn't do anything? I can't. What's in here and what's up here? I couldn't look her in the eye and say, you didn't matter enough for me to bother doing anything. I can't do that. Can you?